I loved how we're now getting maybe into improving the targets. And I can't wait to hear from you guys on what you pulled out of this chapter and maybe still a sum of 9 because we didn't hit all the details, maybe even some of 8. There's a lot of stuff we haven't covered. And by all means, I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys on this and some of your ahas now, as well as some things that we can do together, maybe to improve this for you. So with that being said, let me bring my attendee list up. I got you up here. And the first nuggets from today's reading.
Well, I wasn't here yesterday, but the very first sentence of the first paragraph, just probably not a surprise to you, but it just is so perfect. If you don't know where you're going, you might end up someplace else. And so I think a lot of agents think, well, it'd be nice. And then what's for dinner? Oh, that'd be nice. What am I doing for lunch? Whatever it is, but they don't have a plan. It's not on their calendar. It's not, they don't have lead gen time or whatever from 2 to 5 and so, gosh, I hope today's better than yesterday. But if they don't have where they're going, clearly we need these 4 objectives of prospecting. And beyond that, I'm really just catching up.
Well, I'm excited, Tom, that you are catching up. And I love that you're leaning into those objectives of prospecting because, we've been working on getting more swings of the bat, having more conversations. Now we're starting to hone in on this chapter, chapter 9 of, okay, let's be a little more focused on the motivation behind the conversations, what we're attempting to get accomplished. Celeste, your mic's hot. What do you got, my dear?
So I've always suggested that the best thing you can do is remember that your phone call is to set the appointment, not to have them interview you over the phone. And every time someone attempts to interview you, say, that's a really great question. When are you available? Would it be better this week or next? And then what day and what hour? And nail it down. Say, I'm ready to commit to an appointment with you so we can review your thoughts, your concerns, your goals. And basically, just not let them interview you on the phone. That's it.
So if they're interviewing you, Celeste, what are they actually doing?
They're trying to say, is this person worthy of my time?
So what are they doing when they're talking to you? How do you know they're interviewing you if they're talking to you?
Well, they're having a conversation with you. I'm not sure I'm flowing where you're flowing.
Well, there's a key component. How do you know that someone is looking to gain information about you?
They ask.
They're asking about your experience.
They're asking questions.
Right.
And here's really why the discomfort shows up in that moment. The person who talks the most dominates the conversation. The person who asks the most questions controls the conversation. They're looking to control it. So when they ask you a question, my favorite response to any question on the phone when I am prospecting for real estate is, I'm so glad you asked, and that's exactly why we should meet.
Love that.
I'm so glad you asked, and that's exactly why we should meet. I don't care what it is. What would you list my house for? I am so glad you asked that question, and that's exactly why we should meet. Which day next week is the least busy for you? Do you prefer mornings or afternoons for a meeting? Or evenings? Whatever it is, have a question ready. So I'm so glad you asked that question. That's exactly why we should meet. Close for the appointment.
Yeah.
Well, I want to learn a few more things about you. What is your experience? How long have you been in real estate? I am so glad you asked that. That's exactly why we should meet to cover that. When are you available? When I was prospecting, they would ask lots of questions, and I would always just hit those 3 steps until I wore them down. And if you stay on script, you will wear them down and they will set the appointment. All this is, Celeste, I'm so excited you brought this up, by the way. It's a battle of who is going to control the conversation, whose conversation is stronger, whose script is stronger. Is it going to be you or is it going to be them?
And historically,
that's what they're doing. Dorothy, great job, Celeste. Dorothy, what do you got?
Well, okay.
Well, now I know that I'm doing it all wrong because I've been doing the box. And now I can see how and where I can prioritize. I got some good ones yesterday, but it was by accident. So now we're going to make it by design.
So Dorothy's talking chapter 10.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
now,
I
here's
know.
the fun part with 10. Think about this. We've talked. Am I coming through okay?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
I am? Okay. I want to make sure you guys are hearing me because you guys are kind of breaking up in and out on the download. So we went early on last week and this week about more conversations, getting into the activity, doing the work. Chapter 9, we put some focus on us and what Celeste brought up, what we're going to say and the objective of those conversations, like Celeste said, to set an appointment primarily. If not, number 2, to build familiarity. So when they're open, they're thinking of you. And now Dorothy brought in this prospects, from more conversations to focusing on us and what we're saying and why we're saying it now to focusing on who we're saying it to. So I want to ask you guys, I actually want to brainstorm a little today. Who should you be talking to? What are some great places to discover people that will say?
At Home Depot and Lowe's in the moving box section.
Good job, Jeanette.
One of my favorites. You Jeanette. You are my favorite pupil today. You're the favorite student. And
Or
that's a
any
great one,
place-
by the way. It's
Any place they're
How
shopping
many
for
of you-
furniture, paint.
Yep. Lots of places people shopping. How many of you like to go shopping? So you can go to those stores and shop for clients. Have you ever in your life had someone engage you about real estate in any of those locations? I'm seeing one head nod. So again, the bell curve, almost all of us never have, which means it's open pickings. Where else though? Where could we find people looking to buy, sell, or invest? And I'm not saying necessarily physically go. What data sets could we be looking at?
I was at the library.
Miss Celeste?
I was at the library and somebody approached me. I had my name badge on. Next thing you know, I'm in conversation with them about business, real estate. So that was easy. Business cards
by
are
the way, kind of a great flip side, Celeste, to marketing. How many of you would like people to engage you instead? Raise your hands. Are you wearing a badge or a shirt? Or does your computer have ask me about real estate on the back side? Do you have a sign that you put up on the table when you're having coffee? How many creative things could you do marketing wise when you're out and about to drive inbound conversations? That's huge. Great job, Celeste. Chris, thank you, my brother. What do you got?
Hey, I've got some, for some reason, Zoom is better. This platform I have refreshed 17 times and I am so delayed. So can y'all hear me at all? My face is not moving. So, are you hearing me?
We hear you.
We're
Okay,
hearing
cool.
you.
So,
We're hearing you great, and I believe that today the platform is having some challenges.
okay. All right. So, very good. So guys, I've got a long list of things and what comes to my mind, I used to work specifically in a lobby of a hotel. It's the Renaissance down here in Northwest Austin. And I used to open up my laptop and I would have so many conversations. So where are the masses going? And I would have an agent on duty come say hi. Come say hi. I've talked to Paul about this. You know, you want to go where the masses go. I've gone to furniture stores. Think about furniture stores. The very thing that we do is called ROI Expert Advisors. This is where activities are on how you attract more versus chasing. And so if you think about how can you position yourself to attract more and prospect in your positioning versus just going out there and having conversations. It's great to have new conversations, but you want to be sought out. And so, but here's the deal too. I used to work downtown condominiums and I would work in the concierge. I would not work in the 17th floor open house that I was doing. And so I would work between 11 and 1 o'clock when every Thursday at the Spring Condominiums downtown Austin on Bowie Street, people would be familiar with my face. They would see me. They would come in. They would ask me questions, and I would find 6 other vacant properties that were available. And so when I'd take them up to the 5th floor amenity center, I'd have more time with them. And so, but you've got to be consistent. And so every Tuesday and Wednesday, I would show up to the Renaissance Hotel, and I sold 7 deals that year to people that were just coming in. They picked up a conversation with me because I was positioned to be able to answer their questions, and they saw me frequently in that hotel lobby. So just some thoughts. I've got a long list of stuff, but that's Russ. This is awesome, man. Thank you.
You got it. And by the way, you pinged me, Josh Wheelock. You ready for a nugget? Get you and your agents to have a rotation. Downtown, there is a Panera in the Huntsville Hospital Medical Complex. There's a Panera down there where you could literally set up agent on duty and have doctors and nurses and support staff. If that's your niche, by the way, do doctors, nurses, and support staff all have the money to purchase real estate in Huntsville? So where Chris is going with, pick a location where potential talent is and you can work there, agent on duty, getting your busy work done and driving inbound conversations. Now I want to hear from you guys where else to make outbound conversations happen as well.
2 to 5 right here.
2 to 5 right here. Now you're in an environment that is helping you do the work. Love that. Let's get to those targets, because this chapter 10 is all about the prospecting pyramid of who our body targets are.
I go to Zillow and call for sell by owners.
Okay. Let's just back that up one step. Who are you calling?
For sell by owners.
Right? Alicia, for sale by owners. Have for sale by owners already told you they want to sell? They
Yes.
have raised their hand and said, we want to sell our house. They just haven't raised the other hand and said, we want to pay a commission. By the way, NAR stats, 94% of for sale by owners ultimately list with an agent. So if you went after for sale by owners, let's say in your entire state, and you built relationships and you connected and you made systems and services and offered to help them be successful for sale by owners, might you build yourself a hell of a pipeline of potential buyers, helping them buy their place, and or listings when they don't ultimately sell as a for sale by owner? How many by
Yeah,
show
so
of hands? Go ahead, Alicia.
I was just gonna say that just by like reading this and listening to I prioritizing, I was able to really see what I've been doing wrong, and then now I have prioritized how to hunt them down and give them value and pester them in a non-pestering way so that I will be extremely familiar to them without being in their face, you know? So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sending them value in the mail every day, starting with, I have buyers, and then 2 days later, I'll give them a call. And then every week, I'll continue to call them, but I'll continue to send them something. The first 7 days, they're going to receive something from me in the mail. And then after that, it'll be weekly. With a weekly call to check in with them.
Is huge, Alicia. Awesome. Love that.
You also could set up a campaign in your database such that you just apply that campaign for everybody. And you also can, with KB Core, you can incorporate text messages that go out to them. And so that you've got your mailing, you've got texting once or twice, maybe 3 times a week, and as well as your calls, and you're prompted for those every day.
Yeah, and the value that I'm going to give them. Oh, go ahead.
Nope, you go, Alicia, and then I'm going to go to Chris. Go for it.
I was just going to say the value that I'm going to be bringing them is not the usual stuff like, like painting your house or decluttering your house. It's going to be things like, be careful with contingencies and writing contingencies in a way that it doesn't scare the other person off and stuff like that. So things that you don't get when you just Google how do I sell my house. It's going to be things that you get when you get an agent.
Love it. Chris, you also been coming on and off.
Let's see here. I'm coming on. Is my microphone on? I'm still delayed. Can you hear me? All right, cool.
Yep.
Okay, all right. So I specialize in golf course communities, and even more so now, it's important that we start to niche ourselves or niche ourselves in your area, whether that's demographic, geographic, style of home. And so I'm at Balcones Country. So I live in Northwest Austin. So I'm at Balcones Country Club. I'm at Twin Creeks. I'm at River Place, and I'm right over here in Crystal Falls. And I intentionally go and have lunch, and I use the back of my laptop, and I say it's the Stead Golf Property Group golf course listing specialist. And I get into conversations. I just don't want to wait for. I don't want to spend the dollars on mailers. Word of mouth is king. I want to get into conversations, and so wherever you are niching, get into an environment where you can get into more conversations, where you're just connecting with people. And so I will set things down on the table purposefully to get into conversations. And I go in and I talk to the golf pro, and I know him. I know his first and last name. I know where he likes to travel. I know his family. I know everything about that. I know the front desk receptionist because I want to get them familiar with me to when those conversations come up with people coming in looking at the amenity center, that my name is coming up saying, oh my gosh, you know Chris Stegg, right? And so those are great conversations to be had is who are those people that are in the environment that you're seeking to farm, that they need to know your name. They need to see you on a regular basis. So these are just some things that I do. I'm out of my house. I'm in the environment of where I want to be, and those listings come my way. They're being sought out, and I'm prospecting in my position. Make sense?
Absolutely. So where else, guys? You still haven't hit my favorite. Yeah, I don't know where Matthew went.
I'm right here.
Oh.
Hello.
There you go. You're hot now. You're on your cell phone.
All
What
right,
do you got?
cool. Yeah. I just want to add something that I think is extremely valuable. I haven't really heard it yet, but in chapter 9, the 4 objectives of prospecting, we focused on setting an appointment, gathering more information and qualifying, closing a sale. That's a little down the line. You can say every conversation's kind of a close built into it, but I think the biggest one is building familiarity. It's really maybe the number one thing we can do. We know that some people will take action now, and some people it might be years before our services are even needed for them. So our whole pipeline and how we build familiarity is probably the number one thing we can do. And I honestly feel like the number one thing we can do with all our conversations is get people on some kind of list, whether it be our CRM or even just social media. The whole point is they need to be familiar with us. And I think the main way to do that is through video. If everyone in here should be doing at least a weekly video that's going out to their list, because if we do conversations on the phone, they never see our face unless it's like a Zoom call or something. But if they see us, they feel our energy, they see us, and they see us on a regular basis, we're going to be top of mind when anyone's going to want to do anything in real estate, and they're already going to trust us through our just getting to know us and being there. And I think that's the number one thing for all of us to be doing is some kind of weekly video that it's some kind of value for our list, and that could depend on the niche of what we're focusing on. But I think in general, just doing something real estate oriented and going out there will be the number one thing any of us can do, because they might end up calling you. I mean, every time you reach out to them, it's just an informal way of doing it. But if you have really cool videos, I mean, it doesn't have to be a cool video, it could be with your cell phone. But just doing that, I think, is a great way to throw this into our how we're managing everything with our CRM and our communications.
Celeste was just pointing out for anybody who's using KV Core that there's 10 free bombs a month, 8 or 10 free a month that we can use. It's 10, and so those are places that we can do. Maria, who's not on here right at the moment, has sent out a list of various places to find things, and clearly she's training us and training those of us who are not part of, training who are just coming on to this. And so those links that she has sent out are good. And let me see if I can get her email. How to use the KV Core, how to make it useful for you.
She can post in the chat, Jeanette.
Yep.
So let's do that. And Carrie, you've been waiting. I've seen your mic hot, my dear. Thank you for that. What do you got?
Oh, shit. I hate it when I leave that thing on. Let's see. So this was a very interesting to me, about in chapter 9, but leveraging the prospecting period. So with this prospecting period or pyramid thing, I was having a little bit of trouble about about measuring certain things. So that's probably something I should talk about separately. So I let's not do that right now because it'll take too much time, and we don't have a lot of time. So it's like, we have 3 minutes. I'll do that at a different time. Talk to somebody else. That's probably more efficient.
Can I add something on this? Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Okay. What I was just realizing is there are times where people will say things to you. They're asking you about, say, a specific property. And in my case, I have a listing and I've received phone calls from various prospects saying that they're interested in the home and that they found out that it was under contract and want to know, what's the detail about the home. And instead of leaving it as that was the only home that they were interested in, I think we all know this, but I just have to state it. Don't assume that they already have another realtor, and just say, are you serious about looking to buy something for yourself? Ask whatever the question is that you feel comfortable getting in a conversation started, even if it's in a text. And it just so happens this happened to me yesterday. I had a listing, went under contract right away. I got a text from somebody that knew me back in the early 90s. And he knew more about my history than I remember. And he was like, I was just curious about that house. Well, the next thing I know, I asked him, I said, are you looking to buy for you? Are you looking to buy? Or are you just talking about this? And he goes, no, my fiance and I are looking to buy. And he tells me where. And I said, well, let's get an appointment. Let's discuss this on a Zoom. And I got to tell you, I just led him right into, we have an appointment next week. So it can be something as simple as just respond as a human being to someone. Because I joked about the fact that he went in my Wayback Machine.
Absolutely.
So that's my thought.
Yep. So guys, we're hitting the bottom of the hour here. My internet's sketchy. Here's the one you didn't mention that I want to make sure we talk about even down the road, and that is expired listings. There are more and more expireds coming on the market. That is how I got 25 listings my first 90 days in real estate, was expireds. The other thing I did is get a great CRM, and we have Maria in this room 1 to 2 o'clock Central to help you guys with your CRM. So send that out.
And in case he doesn't come back tomorrow, let's do 11 and